So you're thinking about adding an ADU to your backyard, but you're not sure what would fit. You're having a hard time understanding what the size and space of your yard would support. At Inspired ADUs, we offer for our clients a first step of looking at a site assessment. We do have a series of pre-designed plan sets, and you can scroll through those on our website, but you still might not understand whether or not a certain plan will work. So what we do is have an exercise of bringing up your property from the county record. We can go to whatever county assessor's office you're located in. We can search by address. And what that does is it pulls up an assessor parcels map. You can see on these maps that it shows the width of the lot at 45, the length at 160 feet. We can put this information into our AutoCAD system, along with looking at Google Earth and taking some simple measurements from there, looking at the width of the lot, confirming that against the assessor parcel map, and we can get a pretty good idea of what your yard looks like. Now, while this isn't bulletproof, it does give us a picture and a diagram of what's possible. This dash line you're seeing on our site assessment is the assessor parcel map. We then offset the 4 feet, which is the new standard code on rear and side setbacks for ADUs. And then we start to draw in some other information like your neighbors on each side and any rear buildings that they may have. Once we have the site drawn up, we start to look at your yard with one of our units placed in the back. We'll identify a size of ADU. In this case, we have the Alcatraz or Vine, which is 414 square feet. We'll talk to you a little bit about why it fits. And then in this one, we've sited this ADU against the rear property line. We've demolished the existing garage as based on the pictures you've sent us. It's not waterproof and not in good shape. This ADU has an open living room space that opens out into the yard. If a tenant is coming in, they could come in here and not disrupt your primary living space, which is on this side. There's also more privacy along this wall, fewer windows. And then the bedroom is looking out to the yard on this side, so they potentially could have some private outdoor space. And then you can think about how you may want a landscape buffer between the ADU and your house. Now you can see here that this large tree is impacted by the placement of the ADU in this location. If you want to keep that tree, that could be a con for this layout. Moving on, we started to look at the grand, which is 433 square feet. In this case, we rotated it to the side. Now this might seem a little bit funny to you, but let's go back to Google Earth and have a look at the lot. As you can see here, we have this great big open space, but there's a shared driver with a neighbor who may look a little bit messy. So if we put the ADU along this side instead, the ADU can open to this nice green landscaped area and be out of your line of sight with the main house. As we've talked about, this is your main outdoor space here. The deck is elevated, so it's up higher, and this ADU turns its focus out to this part of the yard. It also preserves both trees and lets you keep that piece undisturbed. And there's a nice simple access for the tenant from the driveway. Going one bigger, we've looked at the Cavour, which is 591 square feet. Often people think about facing the ADU towards the main house, but what we like to do often is turn it back away from the main house. In this case, we've sited the ADU so that its private outdoor space is tucked against this rear property line. That way, you can consider this whole section of yard your yard. You could look at potentially adding a fence or a landscape buffer and then designating this area back here for the ADU tenant. It has a very nice, clean, simple access from the side that pops you into the kitchen, and then there are double doors that open from the living room to their outdoor space. Looking at one more, we've popped in the Commonwealth, which is 583 square feet. This cottage, again, orients itself out to the side. It also gives you a nice big blank wall here. Since you love to garden, we can potentially look at putting a shed along the back of this property. This could be your gardening area, and then you could landscape this with trees or bushes so that you have something nice to look at, you have nice access, and the ADU feels like it has a pretty nice size yard. Again, this concept removes the large tree in the back, but it does keep the bedroom nice and private for the residents of the ADU, and has a nice big open space, a nice big built-in kitchen and living space that really feels pretty private as it's laid out here. Once we get you these site assessments, you can go back to the website, have a look at which of our ADUs works for you. You can have a look at our portfolio and see the Alcatraz if that's the one that speaks to you. Look at some of the details of the plan and then go through some images of the ADU itself. Now keep in mind, our plans are standardized, but your interior finishes and your exterior siding can all be changed with no additional cost. If this interior palette isn't what you're looking for, you can imagine it as painted white cabinets. You could imagine a wood floor inside. These are all things we can switch since we do use custom contractors to build our ADUs. We hope this gives you a good idea about our site assessment process, and you can find more information on our website. And we hope to hear from you, or hope that this offered you a little bit more insight. Thanks.